How about being able to tap yourself in the chest and call yourself the greatest of all time and have no one in the room argue with you, right? Jordan walks through, picks 20 of us out, tells us to stand in the line. I happen to be one of the 20. Your job is to guard Michael. If somehow Jordan doesn't score, somehow you stop him, you get the ball, Michael Jordan guards you. First guy to score wins. See, Michael Jordan loves to talk trash. If Nike wasn't his #1 sponsor, Waste Management would have been. There's no question about it. Michael Jordan looks at me and he says, "Are you really going to give me this shot?" And I look back at Michael Jordan, greatest player of all time, and I said, "I don't think you have it in you."
Don Yeager is fantastic. His presentation is a great balance of emotions, of inspiration, of motivation, even for business leaders, not just athletes.
I've never seen a speech like that before.
What Don brings to this is the ability to translate greatness in sports into greatness in life.
Very easy to get engaged. Really one of the best talks I think I've ever heard.
Coach Wooden leans in and he says, "Do you know the story of Swen Nader?" And I remember being crushed. Like, seriously, Coach? Swen Nader? I mean, I'm a basketball junkie. I barely remember. Anybody in this room even know who Swen Nader is? Seriously? There's a 12-step program for some of you. Terry, you need to get your 12-step program for these people right here. Seriously? Swen Nader. And Swen Nader will tell you, "I know I was brought to UCLA to make Bill Walton better." But the most amazing thing happened, see? In that process, I got better too. It doesn't matter if you are the Bill Walton in this room or the Swen Nader, because the truth is most of us are Swen Naders. Most of us are trying to get better. But if you're the very best there is in this room, and a Swen Nader approaches you trying to learn something from you, it's your job to take that person in. It's your job to become a mentor, your job to help them grow. And if you're Swen, which most of us are, it's your job before we leave here to find someone to ask that question of. It's your job to learn. You are here at Connection for exactly this purpose. You are here to improve your inner circle. All the other little details are really great and important, but it's your responsibility while you're here to improve your inner circle. John Wooden, as we're wrapping this up, he said, "Don, I know how much you love my quotes. I use them all over my wall all the time." He says, "Don," he says, "I hope you'll always remember this one." He said, "You will never outperform your inner circle." You want to know what your capacity for greatness is? He said, "You look at the people around you."
Don has worked with some of the greatest champions of our time. He's been a guest on just about every major national television show, from Nightline to Good Morning America to Oprah.
Don is a great inspirational and motivational speaker, the likes of which you guys probably haven't heard before, but you need to.
The story brought a tear to my eye.
We got in the van to head back to the airport afterward. And after a few minutes, I finally leaned forward and I said, "Warwick, where did you get that?" I mean, who has that in him, right? Where'd you get that? He said, "You know what? We've talked a lot while writing this book about my mother. She was 16 when she had me. The truth is, we grew up together. And she didn't have a whole lot of formal education, but my mother had an unbelievable amount of wisdom. And that wisdom was what she gave us as her children every day. And of all the things she used to say to us," Warwick said, "the one she came back to most regularly was this: it doesn't matter if you're white or you're black. It doesn't matter if you're rich or you're poor. It doesn't matter if you're born on this side of the tracks or raised on that side. There is one thing we are all promised. And that is that there will be a day when something's going to happen that will change the way you wake up the next morning. There will be a day when some kind of adversity is going to strike you that will reshape the rest of your life. And in that moment, you will get two choices. You can be bitter or you can be better. And as my child, I ask you to always choose better." Warwick said he was looking at that inmate. And he heard his mom, and he thought, you know what, I have a choice, and he chose better. Warwick Dunn became for me a living, breathing example of what I will tell you is an absolute. You want to study true greatness, you want to study those who really are successful in life, sports, anything else, they get this. Adversity is fuel. You know, the more I studied, the more I learned about Warwick, and I studied adversity and how it has been used by athletes, the more I realized how right his mother is, right? How awesome and perfect that message is, because adversity is so personal to each one of us. Is it about the economy? Is it about the way Congress is handling your interest deductions and deductibility? I mean, what are the things that are affecting you? Is it about your family life? Is it about health? 7 years ago, a doctor walked into a hospital room and told me I have cancer. And we've had a great fight, and 7 years later today, right now, we get to stand here cancer-free. And what do you do when those moments hit you? How do you let them change you?
It's not about sports. It's about universal languages and messages of hope and motivation that will delight and inspire your audiences too.
And Walter Payton gets me up and he walks me into the coolest home office I've ever been in my life. Forget the jerseys and the helmets. Walter Payton had been knighted by the Queen of England, right? The sword that the Queen used on the head of Sir Walter Payton hung in his office. You don't see that, at least I don't, in other houses. We're making our way past all of this, and Walter Payton starts telling me a story. He says, I found a quote in a magazine 20 years ago. The quote changed my life. He said, it meant so much to me, I cut it out of this magazine, I put it in a frame. He said, I need you to see it. And he hands me this frame, and in the small world we live in, the quote was from John Wooden. The quote said, you cannot live a perfect day without doing something for someone who cannot repay you. You cannot live a perfect day without doing something for someone who cannot repay you. He said, I looked at that quote and I started thinking that night, every night, what have I done today for someone that wasn't done for something in return? He said, you start thinking that way, it changes the way you live.
He's awesome, baby, with a capital A.
My friend.
My friend.
My friend.
My friend Don Yeager.